Welcome to another episode of the Metal Roundup. We are going to be talking about the modern metal scene and some things that we think maybe need to go. Could be spicy. We'll get into that in a moment. Before we do, let's catch up on what's been going on in our musical lives in the last week or so. I was delighted that Birb finally heard one of the greatest albums of all time, Ruben's Race Car Backwards.
Yeah, so what was it, like 2 podcasts ago that we had to do like this little bit, like, or was it
a bonus episode?
It was a bonus episode. Oh, yeah. Good plug to check out the bonus episode.
Crazy.
Support the channel for extra content. Yeah. Not even 1 minute in.
Like, now you guys clicked. You should support our Patreon.
I don't even know who these guys are. No, but yeah, we checked out the Ruben record, or I checked it out because it's one of Steve's favorite records of all time, and in return, he has to check out one of my favorite albums of all time. Which, funny enough, give me 1 second.
Steve, I thought we lost you there already. You were frozen for like
I don't audio issue. We're fine.
We're good.
I literally bought this just last week or 2 weeks ago, but this is Protest the Hero Kazaya. It is the vinyl 20th anniversary. There's like 3 vinyls in there and a bunch of goodies. Like, there's only 1,000 of these made, but
nice.
That's like it's only $1,000.
There we go. You get the tattoo a little bit there.
Oh, is that the one you have tattooed on you? Is that album?
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
So the pressure.
Is that the one that Dom sent in the Discord about the like 1 of 1,000 and it shows you the number?
Oh yeah, this is it. I didn't even realize you talked about it on the Discord, but yeah, no, this is the vinyl.
So have you taken it out of the? You haven't taken it out of the.
No,
so you don't know which number you got.
No, I'm going to film a little unboxing video, but yeah, for people that don't know, yeah, this is Protest the Hero Kazaya, which is, if you're Canadian, you probably know it, but it's the album that got me into metal music. It really threw me into prog metalcore. Like, when you listen to it, it's fucking bonkers, and it's still bonkers today. And so that really dictates the music I listen to today. We're like, ooh, this show's cookie cutter, because I listened to something fucking wild when I was 15. Also,
it wasn't generic, shall we say?
I feel left out that I didn't listen to this album now.
Well, we're thinking we need to listen to an album of your choice, and you need to listen to an album of our choice to make it a trio pack over here.
Could be fun.
But you only started listening to metal last year, so.
Like, you guys heard North Lane Obsidian?
He still manages to dick all over us in the guest in 1 second metal song thing.
I know.
Any other bands outside of like maybe a handful I'm cooked in, everything else he's had me.
Are you good at like exams? Like, it feels like your memory's really good. No?
No, I don't know what it is, man. But we've only done Sleep Token, which is one of my all-time favorite bands, and then we also did Bring Me, which is like, I've got a lot of hours listening to those bands. So like,
listen, the man can't do Roman numerals. We know he didn't do well in exams. He's not smart. He's just got a good memory for fucking song moments.
I just have good ears at some, for certain things, I suppose we could put it that way. But yeah, let's
I won't say much about that album. I won't say much about the Kazai album because Birb hasn't seen the entire reaction yet. But if you want to check that out, it's available on my Patreon.
Jesus.
Just one last thing for people that don't know. They wrote this when they were 16 and 17 years old.
That's crazy.
Which is fucking crazy.
Crazy. Already better musicians than I'll ever be, I suspect.
Support us on Patreon, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, other than that, Birb, you went to a gig.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I went to a gig on Friday night. It was a little last minute because it arguably one of the biggest, most important shows of the year, because it's Bad Omens playing Scotiabank Arena, which is one of the biggest venues in Toronto. It's a 20,000, arena capacity, and the fact that they're headlining that is fucking mind blowing. And I was thinking about going, and I have connections to Fearless Records because of Beartooth, who were opening. So I was waiting on them to respond. But this is an interesting story because I had a follower who messaged me and emailed me asking if I want to come. I kind of ignored it. I'm going to wait on my connections because it's I don't know if I would accept tickets from a follower. But he messaged me again, messaged me on Instagram. I'm like, damn, this guy really wants to give tickets to me.
I really want to kidnap you, Birb, please.
Exactly. It makes me even more sketched out. So, and the thing is, okay, so I looked into him. He gave me his Instagram handle. So luckily I was able to do like a little bit of a background check. I'm like, okay, this guy looks kind of normal. And then I was asking about the tickets. They're like, yeah, he's got 2 tickets to a suite with complimentary snacks and everything and like seated seats. I'm like, oh,
God
this is
damn.
tempting. I know. Do I take it? And like, I have to sit beside this guy. I'm like, what if this guy's weird? Like, I don't know, man.
Wow, I
But
can't believe you thought about this so much.
I thought about this
like,
so
yeah.
much. But anyway, I found his name. So Victor, he listens to the Metal Roundup, but I did a serious background check where I was like looking at his entire website and his LinkedIn profile. And he doesn't know this, so
He's bringing you to some fucking alleyway or something somewhere. Like, the most public place imaginable he's bringing you to.
But when he like sat down, he was like telling me about his work, and I just had to go like, "Oh, interesting." That's what. You do, right?
Yeah, you've only been there about 3.5 years, right?
Yeah, no, it's just like when you're going on a date with somebody, and just like, "Oh, you've been at Applebee's for 4 years. Interesting." I never said 4 years. But yeah,
It's like that situation where you show up at the guy's house and he was like showing you his band t-shirts, or what was that situation?
Oh, yeah, Metallica t-shirt.
It's getting changed for you, know? That's why you have these trust issues.
Yeah. Anyway, no, the concert was great. There's a couple stories about this, because first I'll just do a quick review of the concert. President opened solid, you know. It makes sense because of the background, right? It's such a good singer. The new song is fucking awesome live. Holy crap, I really like the new song. Beartooth were cool, but probably the more like underwhelming act of the three. But then Bad Omens was fucking amazing. The set list was so good and shows the amount of variety in their music. They continue to become a more interesting band. So, and like Drew, the Impose song, which I know you like because it's a little bit drum and bass, slaps so fucking hard live. And they did like this little extra extension. I don't know if they did it for you when you saw them live, but like they added a little breakdown section and like it got heavier. I'm like, holy shit, I wish this was on the recorded version. Yeah.
Nice.
They finished their set with it and just kept on going and getting heavier and more cool.
Is it when he like does the big scream at the end of it?
I think so. It's not really like a breakdown, but they added a lot of heavies and just added more to it. I'm like, this sounds way better.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the standout moments of the set, and they knew that as well. There was the confetti cannons like just spraying confetti everywhere for that moment. So yeah, it was pretty nice.
I'm assuming it's like pretty much like the same set that you saw too. Like I can't see them changing it up too much.
Very likely
similar. Yeah. But yeah, it was sick. Yeah.
There's just one thing I want to mention about Vic, because he had an interesting theory about President. Now, President, we know the lyrics. I think most of us can assume like there's religious trauma within the lyrics, right? You know, the name Father. So I told him to write it out for me because I kind of forgot how he brought it out. But he said, grief and religious crisis, the main character sings to God or to a person close to them who believed in God but now has died. After this person's passing, the main character is no longer sure about their own beliefs. My God, why have you forsaken me? So those are the lyrics, but then the president and the mass concept is whatever you try to control will eventually elude you. You can be the smartest man in the world, but you will never understand all the mysteries of the universe. You can be the strongest, but you can't move mountains. You can even be the most powerful and hold the highest office in all the land, the president, and still have no control over what happens in the afterlife. Not even the president is above the law of nature. So basically he's saying that he's trying to figure out the afterlife and like the meaning behind the afterlife, but also he's using the present, which is like the closest version that you can get to understanding God, but like still he won't be able to get it, or maybe he is passed on and this is his afterlife. Sorry, it's getting a little messy.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I kind of get it.
Steven.
I follow what you said. I don't know how they're particularly linked together still.
I think my interpretation of it is, yeah, like the human aspect of, I guess, a God character, as close as you can get to God is probably being in like a presidential role, because you're like above absolutely everything. But even at that point, you're still nowhere near these, you know, I guess, religious powers and the spiritual side of things. Is that where he's going with it?
I think so, but he was also mentioning a lot about the afterlife, but he didn't really sum it up in his Instagram message, and I also forgot exactly how he worded it. But
I think it's for something to be that deep from like a meaning standpoint and like everything around it, regardless of whether or not that is the case, like the music just doesn't reflect how deep the storyline is. So unless it's like unless the storyline reflect, I guess musically it reflects how like deep that storyline is. It's kind of null and void. Like the music itself is still pretty like run of the mill. There is some great moments in it. He's got a great voice, but like for the storyline to be that deep and intricate, if that is the case, it's like, yeah, cool. But like musically, it doesn't have that same attachment for the most part.
I agree. The music can be a little bit run of the mill, and this is a perfect like segue. Well, we're not going to talk about it yet because we have other stories to talk about. But the one problem that I had with this concert is a trope in modern metal. So many of the bridges resort to a breakdown. Every one of these bands, Beartooth, President, Bad Omens, all had their breakdown the bridge, and it's starting to get really repetitive. It was just like halfway through Bad Omens said like, yep, here we go. The heavy section. Here we go. It's always here. Like it just got so like, I don't know, just a little played out, especially 3-4 hours of music doing that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, when you're hearing like 3 different metalcore bands back to back, it is to be somewhat expected, I suppose, because that is the formula. So that is why when a song like Impose comes in, it is nice. And I think that was why that was one of the standout tracks for me, just switching things up a little bit. So yeah, tricky one, because like that is the nature of subgenres. They have to fall within certain fields in order to make them that subgenre. So I guess that is just a big thing of like having the breakdown there. It's kind of
but that doesn't really define metalcore though.
No, I don't think structurally that's a genre thing they have to do. It's more, it's the pop song formula largely, and where you'd in the pop song you'd have a bridge that goes somewhere melodically a little interesting and you come back. In metalcore you want to go somewhere heavier and then come back, and that seems to be, there's a satisfaction to that, and that's why it works so regularly. But when bands deviate from that can be really satisfying and interesting because it's unexpected still. And if you are going to have that structure, man, you better fucking crush it with some incredible like chorus and make that breakdown. If it is expected, everything goes quiet and then you got whisper vocals and then the snares building up and you got a big call out before the whole band comes in. It's got to be fucking devastatingly heavy or something to make it hit differently from others. And I'm thinking a little bit of, I think it was a clip I saw of T-Pain, who was listening to some artist and he started shouting, being like, we already have this artist. So-and-so already did this. Do something else. Like, do something else. We already have this. And I'm feeling a little bit of that in some bands here and there. I'm like, there's a new band that comes out and they sound so much like this other band. I'm not even Sleep Token. Like another band, like in the scene, for example, I'm just like, we have them already. We already have Alt. Do something else, it's, but I also understand this is just a natural evolution of things. If a band breaks through as being really interesting, other labels might have, we've got one of them over here. That can be a successful thing for us to launch as well. So I understand how it happens, but what we're looking for is something different that can stand on its own. And sometimes that might be a structural variety that they go away from, to your point about the expected breakdown in the bridge.
Yeah. Yeah, I know this is like the main talking point of the episode, but I feel like we have a few other news stories to go on too. Okay. But I feel like I've been talking too much. So, Drew, what you got going on?
Yeah, music world, nothing really. I don't know if we haven't spoken about the ERRA album, but I guess we can get onto that in a moment. But yeah, I guess the news story in my life is that I'm leaving Ireland for the foreseeable future. I've booked a one-way flight out of here. So
Bur's trying to clap for you. I'm sure.
Let's all really cool, clap for now, fellas. I could be back in a fucking, I could be back with my, head in hands. But no, the plan is for the foreseeable to travel somewhere in Europe. I haven't said I'm making a whole song and dance. I've kind of intentionally put so much pressure on myself with this so that I have no choice but to just stay there. Because I'm like, right, if I tell everyone about this and I make a big song and dance, then I'm just going to go, and there's no way back, because why not? That's the fun way to do it, I guess. But yeah, my intentions are to go over to this place in Europe, which we'll talk about probably next episode. I imagine I'll do a follow-up video to actually just let people know, because the speculations have already begun and people are like thinking I'm moving to like fucking Madagascar and all these fucking crazy places, just naming random places. Like, yeah, he was talking about it once in this video before. I'm like, no, I'm not going there. So yeah, we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that in a future episode. But yeah, for now, I'm gonna be leaving on the 28th of April on my journey. So I'll be like temporarily renting accommodation for like 3 weeks. And in the meantime, within that 3 weeks, I'll hopefully be able to find something a little bit more permanent. And yeah, I've specifically made sure that internet should be fine in the place that I'm temporarily renting. But I don't think anything could possibly be as bad as my current internet here. And also the Starlink situation that I had in my previous apartment. So we should be fine. But yeah, I've made sure to do that. Also, I did a video for it yesterday, and one of the top comments is, "Has this been cleared with Burb and Steve?" I found that one pretty funny. But yeah, so that's the big news in my world right now. So I'm kind of just preparing for that and excited to just go at this point, you know.
It's huge.
Very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever lived outside of Ireland?
No, even when I moved out, I moved to an apartment in my hometown. So I've like not really gotten any experience of being outside of my hometown. I've done a good bit of traveling, like holidays and stuff like that, but it's, you know, it's not going to be the same thing. But I think I'm just at that point in my life where I need that total switch up, because I got a taste of, I guess, being away from home. But when the novelty of that wore off and I realized that I was just still in my hometown, I was kind of like, right, I probably need something a little bit more than just this right now. So yeah, again, who knows? I mean, my worst case scenario is a really good scenario where I just say, oh, well, this actually isn't really for me. I'm just going to come back to Ireland. And then I've scratched that itch and, you know, we go from there. So yeah, there's nothing to really lose, especially with what we do. I can just bring a laptop and a camera and a microphone and I'm pretty much able to do it anywhere, providing the internet isn't ass. But I've done as much homework as possible to make sure that that is not the case. So yeah, looking forward to it.
That's cool. I think everyone should at some point in their life live somewhere else, country-wise. You can learn so much from it.
Yeah.
Or where are you gonna live?
I wish I did, man. Like, okay, so at least I was able to go to Mexico like once every 2 years for a month for like my life. So that's always been a part of my thing. But like, I don't know, I'm so tied down because of family and, you know, my girlfriend too, that I would love to just move somewhere else. Like, I'm not feeling Canada really. Like, well, I still love this country, but I just want to see somewhere else. And yeah.
Well,
I also
you'll
hate
get
taxes
a little
here, but
opportunity to see Ireland as well. You might get a little taste for Ireland. Maybe we swap places at some point. I'll be living over in Canada, you know? We just switch things up.
True. But, that's the other bit of news.
Yeah.
We could segue into that we've officially booked our flights to Download Festival. So the three of us will be in attendance.
Sorry, wrong sound bite. There we go. No, big news. Yeah, booked flights to Ireland and to UK. Like, it's going to be my first time in Ireland, which I'm so excited about. It's funny how you're moving away from it. Yeah, so you're going to have to fly back. But no, dude, I can't wait. I fucking love Newfoundland in Canada, which is like similar to Ireland in a lot of ways. So I'm very excited to do that. I think we should definitely, besides having lots of drinks, maybe explore Ireland well, see the sights. Yeah, I'm going to have to do my tour guide homework because I've never really had someone over to do a tour experience. So I'll have to look into that. Yeah, all I can think of is the Guinness Storehouse. We should do that. Because I don't think we're going to have enough time to do like the west of Ireland, which is like the photogenic. You could do some stuff on the Tuesday maybe, but yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I'd love to do the west of Ireland because it would seem like such a shame to come to Ireland and not see the west, because that is like what you see on the postcards, and like when you look up Ireland, it's like the west of Ireland, and Dublin is just like... Why can't we do it? We could. I didn't think we had time. Like, you're coming over on the Tuesday, right? No, I'm coming over on the Monday. Ooh. And then there's a full day Tuesday too. So I have like 2 full days there. Okay, well, if you're up for a 4-hour drive after your flight from Canada, then we can absolutely go to the west of Ireland. But here, we're planning we'll figure out the details. Yeah, we'll figure out the details. Yeah, but yeah. Well, I'd love to do it. That'd be great. A little road trip. Totally. But the main thing is the three of us larking around Download Festival, seeing a bunch of bands. It's going to be fucking great. It's going to be awesome. So on that note, it's an expensive thing we're doing, flying these lads to the UK for Download. So we're going to do a special Metal Roundup live stream on Twitch. And currently, their plan is the 26th of March, 9 p.m. UK time. Get yourselves on Twitch.
and we're going to do this joint streaming thing. So whoever of us you happen to watch on Twitch already, hopefully you do, we're going to be fundraising for that and doing some really silly things. You're not going to want to miss that. So put that in your calendar, and that'll be great fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'll say no more.
it's going to be a live episode essentially, but we have some
It's going to be chaos.
Yeah,
We'll
have
share
some
more
production
details soon, but yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I can't wait for it. We did a little trial run we already spoke about in like a previous episode, but me and Steve have sort of trialed it. It was a mess. We'll make sure it's not as much of a mess. Maybe I think that people just want it to be a mess. We'll see. We'll try and make it as at least somewhat professional from a visual and audio standpoint, and the rest will be a mess. Don't worry.
Yeah, that'll be great fun. Now, before we get into some other, modern metal, and maybe there's some of this in this next discussion. Who knows? But there was a big album that was released last week in ERRA's Silence Outlives the Earth. What did you think of it, lads? I've not seen your full kind of videos to that as yet.
What do you think? Because I feel like we've been talking too much.
All right. I really liked it. And I've said this before. I think I said this in my intro pretty much to ERRA, because I also interviewed them about that album, which went out last week on my channel. I think ERRA are about as good an execution of exactly the range that is metalcore that you can kind of have. I mean, they have great scream vocals. They've got great big sing-along choruses. They've got the devastating breakdowns. They've got beautiful layered, polyrhythmic kind of over the 4/4 guitar moments. They've kind of got everything. And they do it to a really high quality production-wise and songwriting. And it was another one of them. And then some. I think it's the best album, in my opinion, from them, or at least that I've enjoyed thus far. I thought it was fucking fabulous. Great range of songs. I love songs like Black Cloud, which has got no scream vocals on it, but it's just so fucking beautiful. And they got some heaviness in other songs. I thought it was really well balanced. I like the trio of songs at the end to kind of like reignite your energy focus. Like, okay, what are these three going to be like? How are we ending this album? I thought it was fucking great. Loved it. Delicious album.
Have you heard the self-titled album?
I don't think I have. I think I've heard a couple songs off of it.
Ooh,
Snow Blood or something.
Yeah, definitely check that out for your Patreon.
Yeah,
because
I need to check that out.
I think that's considered still like one of the best ERRA albums, especially like with JT, because a lot of like the OG ERRA fans love Impulse and Augment, which was the old vocalist. But for me, like I always had the hardest time getting into ERRA's music, and this is including the old stuff too. And this is someone who loves prog metalcore. It's my favorite subgenre, if you will. So the self-titled to me was fucking awesome. It had so much variety. It was well balanced. Like all of the positives you have, Steve, about the new album is how I feel about the self-titled. And then Cure dropped, and Cure was more atmospheric, groovy, maybe a little bit more experimental at times. It was a bit more polarizing. A lot of people really do love that record, but it generally is a little bit more polarizing. So I feel like with this new record, they kind of I assume that maybe they took those criticisms to heart and really went all out with this new record. And to me, it is fucking good. I still might like the self-titled a little bit more, but that could be just because of nostalgia and other things. But right now, this album is so sick, and because it's balanced, has variety. It's got the JT songs, the Jesse songs. It's got so many sick riffs, so many nice melodies. It's so technical and it's so fun that it's hard to pick apart everything on first listen. But my favorite is the trio, and when that from track 1 and then they go into track 2 in the trio is so fucking ear candy. The In the Gut of the Wolf or whatever is
In the Gut of the Wolf.
That song is I love the album, but whatever they were doing on that trio right there, I'm I need more of that. And I'm hoping for the next ERRA record, it'd be so cool for them to write an actual start to finish album that has a distinct flow like that. I would absolutely love that. But yeah, I think the trio was fucking amazing. The rest of the album is really good, but I need to sit with it for a little bit more. But
I know that In the Gut of the Wolf hit Drew, didn't it?
Yeah. Anything that sounds like they most certainly ripped Meshuggah in some moments, which was great. I love that. They literally used the bleed rhythm in, was it Cicada Strain,
Siren?
which is great. I was literally laughing in the middle. I was like, oh my god, this is literally almost note for note the bleed rhythm, which is just one of the most iconic rhythms in modern metal. So I'm hearing it, I'm oh my fucking god, that's great. Yeah, I thought it was all right. I've been very open about my. It's this really frustrating thing we've talked about before, where I'm just I want to love ERRA's stuff so badly because I really like JT. But when I was listening to the album, there was some great moments in it. Of the 11 songs, I did really enjoy Further Eden, Cicada Siren, The Many Names of God, and The Good of the Wolf. They were the ones that like made it to my playlist that I'd happily listen to over and over again. I think while I was listening to it, I like really gave myself the task of figuring out what the fuck it is, because it's pissing me off. You know, when you just can't quite put your finger on something as to what it is about, like why you're not liking your band, because you can hear everything. And you're like Steve said, I completely agree with Steve. I think the ERRA are like almost the poster boy for like perfect metalcore. Like they've nailed it. And I think that was also like a criticism that I have of their sound today, is that they've like almost perfected it to such a degree. The mix, the production, the technicality, the songwriting, like it sounds so dumb and like counterproductive to say this, but they've almost like perfected it to a fault, that it just sounds like it was created in a lab to me. I don't know what it is. It's like so hyper perfect. I think a lot of that as well, what I was honing in on as well, just for my personal taste, and I don't think this is bad at all, I just am clicking with Jesse's vocal delivery much on the clean vocals. I know there's a lot of like vocal processing in some of the choruses and stuff like that, and it just almost, again, it's like super pristine and polished, that I just kind of lose a bit of that like human connection. And I think a lot of their songs from a tonal standpoint started to sound the same with JT's verses and everything. He's great, and I love, like, he's one of the most commanding vocalists, but it's that like constant contrast between Jesse and JT. It's like, well, all their parts always seem quite similar to me. It sounds to get a little bit repetitive. But yeah, that's why I still struggle, even though I did that homework and like tried to figure out what it was. I kind of came to that conclusion that I'm just not enjoying the melodic side of things much. When the choruses land, like I didn't love the middle portion where it was kind of a lot of Jesse like songs. Did I just go offline? Am I still here?
The ERRA album broke his brain.
Ah, you're back.
Oh, I'm good. I don't know. My internet was so shit last night. I'm hoping that that's right. The ERRA boys are trying to interfere with me right now.
Cut them off! Cut them off!
Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I thought it was solid. I gave it like I think it was in the high. I think I gave it like a 79 out of 100, which is still a fucking stellar record. Like I can hear that it's a really good record. I just don't know how much I will go back to it as a full project, you know.
You've raised fair points. Like I get that. There's artists that I feel similarly about. Like there's something about the pristine polishedness of the vocal thing doesn't do it for me. Yeah. I'd love to figure out when that hits and when that doesn't for me, because there's got to be some fucking reason. But in that one, I thought it was the precise nature of the vocals really worked for me. I think in part because it sort of feels like an instrumental layer almost intentionally. So rather than a really present, intimate vocal where it's really important that you get all the enunciation. I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting.
Sometimes it's just about feel sometimes. Like you can boil it down to feel, because sometimes you can really overanalyze things. And that is another thing that I was thinking to myself. There's just certain songs that will just hit you and you'll get goosebumps, and you don't have to like overanalyze. Like, why is it that you just feel great when you listen to it, and it makes you feel something, whether it be a sad emotion, it makes you pumped up. That is enough for me to even know, but you don't need to like overthink it. I think that is like one of the main things that I look for when I'm listening to music, is just to feel something. And I could appreciate a lot of ERRA's album, but I didn't feel much listening to it. It's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, that makes
ERRA's
sense.
a very like melodic band, and JT's parts like have never been always that heavy for me, because I like a lot of heavy music, and JT's older band, Texas in July, was like August Burns Red on steroids for me. Like he did one album which was so fucking good, and so when he joined ERRA, I'm like, oh no way, I can't wait for this. But he always felt a little bit subdued. Like it's clearly, I feel like Jesse's band, and then you know JT's doing some harsh vocals because we have some djenty guitars here, and it never really hit that hard. But I feel like there are moments on the new album, especially like in The Gut of the Wolf and stuff, where like JT really fucking shines on that song. So I like how this album definitely gets into more heavier sections, but maybe that's one of the reasons why you have a harder time getting into it, because it is really a lot of Jesse moments, and also the heavy sections with JT are also like, you know, they're not that heavy. It's just kind of him screaming over some djenty guitars or something.
Yeah,
I think it's a fair call out. Yeah, they're not the heaviest of metalcore bands.
Yeah, I think JT probably even maybe agree with this. Maybe he wouldn't phrase it the way I'm going to phrase it, but I think JT is like, his vocal delivery. Now, I'm going to contradict myself slightly as well, because there was a song that he did have a kind of sing scream moment, which I thought it was cool. But I think JT is like kind of vocally, he's a bit of a one trick pony across the discography that I've heard. He has an insanely good tone, and again, I think he's got such an incredible tone, and he's a real commanding presence. But it's always roughly in the same tonal ballpark. His scream is always the same. I don't know the technical side of it, just to my ear. When you hear JT, you instantly know who he is, but that's because his tone is like so consistent all the time. So again, a lot of the songs to me started to sound a little bit similar in parts, and it just doesn't feel like the most dynamic thing, which is why it's great when Jesse comes in. But because I also am the biggest fan of Jesse's style, I'm like, it's, you know,
you're going back and forth with
that's literally the frustration summed up with ERRA for me, is that I'm like, so I can hear it being really good and I understand why everyone loves it, but I'm not feeling as much as other people with it, you know.
Totally.
I wish JT sang more. Like, I'm kind of in the same boat, like, because he does that, and again in God the Wolf, he does like Gojira kind of sing style. But like, if you listen to Texas in July, he did that too, like 10 years ago.
Right. Okay.
So
yeah, that was bugging me in the video. I was listening to one of the songs and I was like, who the fuck does this sound like? And then I seen people in the comments, this sounds like Gojira, and then you just saying it there, I'm like, oh yeah, it's very Joe Duplantier from Gojira. So
yeah. Well, I had a near fucking religious experience listening to Black Cloud for the first time. That made my heart sing. I fucking loved it. It was so Seosin.
A lot of people like that one. Yeah, it's that one, and then also God the Wolf, and then there's Cicada
Strain.
Not Circadian Rhythm.
Cicada Strain.
Siren.
Fucking weed brand. Cicada Strain. You got that new Cicada Strain?
It's also easy to overlook singles after the fact, but like Further Eden's a fucking great song. Echo Sound's a great song. Gore of Being is a great song. Like,
yeah, sure, absolutely. You probably really like Jesse's solo stuff then, Steve. His Ghost Atlas. Have you heard any of his?
I didn't realize he was Ghost Atlas. How the fuck did I miss that? Because they've got a song I heard many years ago. I was like, this is fucking sick.
Yeah, I checked out his project from, I want to say, like last year, and yeah, I think you'd really like it. It's a lot of those, like it's all Jesse, and it's those types of melodies and deliveries. It's not like really heavy, but I think you might enjoy that even in your own time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, one last thing I don't think I've chatted about here yet, but on the opposite side of things to expected song structures and things, the Callous Daoboys. I did not post my reaction to their album on YouTube because I thought it wasn't going to help anyone, because I was just like, what the fuck is this? This is insane. I give it a not for me. I'm like, this
which is a fair response to that album.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot to take in on first listen. But I was invited to go check out their show at the Underworld in Camden in London. I was like, yeah, I do want to know what that's like live. How the fuck are they doing that? That'll be interesting. And then I had the opportunity to interview them. I was like, yeah, I think that'd be a really interesting conversation. I will learn some things about, songwriting. How do you end up with music like this? And in preparation for that, I listened to the album a few times, of course, to kind of get ready for the interview. And I was like, liking it more and more the more I listen to it. And I quite like that album. I'm like I'm enjoying it. So I had a great conversation with them, and it was really interesting to hear how genuinely they're not like going, well, how do we just make the fucking weirdest, craziest shit in the world? They're like, we love all these genres, and we want to make the song the best thing it can be. And sometimes it ends up being like Lemon, and sometimes it ends up being more kind of chaotic, but it's this stuff we think is the sickest shit ever. And it's like, that's really reassuring that's how that's coming across. And that's probably why it's connecting with as many people as it has. It's a very highly praised album, and the more I hear it, the more I can understand that. So that's been kind of fun. I love having music grow on me in that kind of one-way street where you just get to know it better and better, and it's pretty satisfying. So that's been a wild journey. Yeah. And maybe I'll have that with Keziah METALBIRB.
Oh, joking. So I do know some of your thoughts about it.
Who knows?
Hey, actually, Callous Daoboys was opening for Protest the Hero for a while, and they're good buddies. So maybe. Yeah.
I can see that.
I, interestingly enough, had the opposite experience with Callous Daoboys. I seen them live first. I was like, oh, brother, this is ass. And then I heard the record, and I was like, now I think I showed up a little bit late to the set, but it was just fucking chaos. It was just 19 people on stage jumping around. I was like, what's happening here? To be fair, it was at a Tesseract show, so I wasn't really in that vibe of chaos. Like, Tesseract is not that type of band.
Yeah.
And it was in Process as well after that. So, yeah, they definitely stood out on that tour. But, like, yeah, I really loved the album when I heard it after seeing them live. So yeah, we kind of had an opposite experience, I guess.
Yeah, fun. Well, they're certainly not doing many modern metal tropes, I would say.
No.
What are some other things, perhaps, Burb, that because you had a video recently on your channel, which people should go and check out when you're looking at kind of modern metal
nice plug.
trends that need to go away?
Nice plug, Steve. Yeah, so I made a video about like 2 months ago because I don't know. I think it's something worthwhile talking about because there are a lot of cliches. There's always been cliches with music, and yeah, my video's been doing really well, which I don't know, kind of shows me that a lot of people are kind of fed up with a lot of these tropes in modern metal. So I have a couple of points, and whether or not you guys agree or disagree, please sound off. But you know, one of the problems that I have is definitely the breakdowns of the bridge, which we kind of talked about. Also just like breakdowns are becoming kind of a trope in a lot of these metal bands. It's like, it's always like the peak of the song, which, you know, it's not a bad thing, but like, I don't know, in the early 2000s, that wasn't the case. We didn't really rely on breakdowns too much, where now I feel like it's every song needs to have a breakdown. And also that's just getting kind of repetitive for me. I don't know if you guys agree or disagree, but are you guys tired of breakdowns in the bridge and or breakdowns being a highlight?
Well, we've kind of touched on that a bit. I'd say earlier. I don't know what else I could potentially add to that, but I'm not against breakdowns. But perhaps like maybe start the song with it, or you know, like do something a little different. Because I think bands like, I think it's Killswitch Engage. I don't think they always had like a breakdown bridge. Sometimes the song would start off, he's like, oh fuck, and you know, like that energy then can sort of massage its way through the entire song, and that somehow feels more viscerally exciting at this stage now.
Yep. Even Periphery, like too, like they would start the song like The Walk, which had this like sick breakdown kind of way to start the song. But, like, it doesn't mean that has to be in the bridge or like the highlight of the song. It could start a song. I like that.
Yeah, like just to reiterate that point, like I don't think I'm ever getting tired of breakdowns. You know, I don't think any of us are ever going to be like, oh, I can't listen to this breakdown anymore. But I think the problem is that, you know, at what point do we just have to accept that we're not even metalheads anymore? If we're like, you know what, breakdowns, fuck that shit. So yeah, it's the predictability of breakdowns which gets very tiring, which is just like when you can literally hear it coming, and then the like slow down, the whisper vocals, and then the landing, and then it's just like four to the floor, and you're like, oh. And again, like in isolation, if you're just to hear that without having heard like loads of different, you know, thousands of other metalcore songs and albums and shit like that, yeah, it's pretty cool. But when you have just heard so much of it, naturally your taste is going to get a little bit more refined. And yeah, it's just like, it's very predictable. So yeah, the problem isn't necessarily with the breakdowns. It's just that I think that is the formula right now. It's like, and it feels almost copy and paste in a lot of things. I'll add that deathcore, and not to just pick on metalcore, but deathcore is obviously extremely bad for it. I think even more so.
Hardcore too have a bit of a breakdown function towards the end.
Yeah, I'm not too as versed in the like hardcore world because naturally I just don't get as many of them submitted my way. But like the deathcore world is like, I'm sick of the like slowed down version of the breakdown where it's not even rhythmic anymore. It's just like reversed snares landing on a snare, and it's like it just sounds like you're getting fucking artillery striked. I'm like, this isn't the song anymore, you know. In isolation, they're fun. Like HLB will do something crazy like that, where it's like they've just created this cinematic soundscape that you're now in. But there's very few bands that are capable of pulling that off, like HLB. So they're kind of an anomaly in that sense. But yeah, a lot of the breakdowns and shit just don't really feel that inspired. I'll take something goofy, like again, like the Callous Daoboys just did some like goofy moments in their songs, but they just musically sound fun, and they're different, and they're unique, and they make you go, whoa. And a lot of the time that does lead to first listens being a little bit like, ugh, I didn't like that, like you've had, Steve. And then over time they just get better because you're like, oh, this is actually so unique. Like fair play to them for trying something different. And yeah, where I'm at with my like listening, I guess I've just heard so many variations of the same kind of breakdown. Don't get me wrong, I'll always go back to them because they're like, it's junk food. It's easy listening. It's easy to just spin on, you know, put on and listen through, and you can enjoy it and throw it away. But I think like music that will really stick and stand the test of time will not be those like junk food songs. So yeah.
Fair.
Yep.
Have either of you heard the song Replica by ELO? It's spelled IHLO.
Oh, ELO, yeah.
I know that band. Yeah, they're very like Tesseract-y and
Yeah.
That song
Harbor.
was interesting because it was kind of gentle and proggy for the first third of the song, and then the middle third is like one of the most satisfying groove breakdown things I've ever fucking heard in my life. And then the last third kind of sort of returned to the start. I thought that was amazing. I think at some point my reaction is going to go on my channel, but like that middle section blew my fucking mind. It was one of those satisfying things I've ever heard.
Oh, I think I know the song you're talking about. Yeah, because like I do know, I remember that middle portion being fucking ear candy. Yeah.
Ugh.
It kind of reminds me of like
synthy.
it doesn't sound like it, but it's like similar to Aviation's Outliers, which is still one of my favorite songs ever, because like the first 3 minutes is like, you know, a lot of melodies, and then the middle portion is just like fucking killer rhythms and breakdowns, and so sick.
Yeah, they're a really good band. Did you say Legacy, Steve? That song?
Replica.
Oh, Replica. Let me see. Oh, it's the second song on the album. Yeah, they're a really pretty band. They're kind of like Carmen Jack in a way, where they create that like really like cool atmosphere, but they use a lot of synths. But it's just their vocalist is like so close to. He's like the perfect middle ground between both eras of Tesseract's vocalists, and they're very inspired by Tesseract, like instrumentally. So I just couldn't look past that too much.
Same.
I've heard their whole discography. Like I've heard both albums that they have, so I'm aware of their sound for sure. But they are a really good band. Like.
Yeah, I'm that way with some bands. Carnival.
It is like Tesseract Light though. That band. That's how I feel about them.
Tesseract Light. Hilarious.
Are there other modern metal trends for?
Oh yeah. So here, overproduction is something that I'm also tired of, and I think a lot of people are too. I think, you know, metalcore is so perfect. You know, it's so gridlocked, and also the amount of effects. And actually, I'll throw in a hot take for you, Steve, is that a band that I know that you really like, and I think they're so good. Instrumentally, they're so good. The vocals are great. They're catchy. They're fun. But the production on their music is way too overproduced, that they have so many effects and so many bells and whistles that I don't need all this stuff on their music. And I wish that they had a little bit more of a raw sound, because they don't need it. ERRA.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
it's one of the issues
that. But
yeah, oralize. I know.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I get that. I understand that. I do think maybe they do a little bit more vocal production than I personally would choose to have. But I think the power of the creativity, the songwriting, and the fun that they inject means that of the the top trump card of the band, those are strong enough that other things don't really matter as much to me on that standpoint. But I get your point. Their songs are busy, full of things in it. One of the songs of the recent album has a fucking banjo in it. The previous album, he had a big saxophone moment in Canvas. It's so sick though. Yeah, it's very fair. There's a lot going on in their songs sonically, but I dig it.
Yep.
For me, because of the creativity of what the songwriting they're putting in, that I don't mind high production moments versus a band that's more generic in their songwriting. And then you have the high production, like what separates this from other bands? And it's not a whole lot.
So actually, here's another example, because I don't want to, put Oralize in the hot seat, but Architects. A lot of Architects' new music is so overproduced and has, what was the album? The Classic Symptoms, I felt like was so bad for it. Had so many different bells and whistles and transition ideas, like to help to flow the music. I'm like, they need all this stuff because the songs aren't quite there.
I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it.
Takes episode. That's the Classic Symptoms. I don't recall. Now, it's not an album I'm like the most fond of, so I don't go back to it very often. But yeah, I suppose like that's the Architects or the Animals album, right?
No, that one definitely has a lot.
Sorry.
But
right.
That album does have a lot of effects, though, and they did like a live version with a orchestra, or not orchestra, like just like strings. For those that wish to exist, they did that record again with like strings and stuff, which sounds a lot better. I'm like, damn, I like this more because the actual recorded album has too much shit going on. Yeah,
Classic Symptoms is the white one where they're wearing all the makeup in all the videos, and it was like a
which has animals on it, doesn't it?
No, Animals is for those that wish to exist.
The astronaut cover,
which is Architect, one of their best songs. I fucking love that song. Yeah.
But I completely agree. I was like hesitant to jump in there when I thought you were talking about the For Those That Wish to Exist album. I was like, I don't know if that's like crazy overproduced. It does have animals, which is kind of like has all the fun production moments, but yeah, Classic Symptoms is, yeah, I'd fully agree with your point on that one. Yeah, look, the production thing, I think that maybe, I don't know if you guys can chime in on this one, but I think my main problem with production and like the really polished mix is that if it feels like maybe like a crutch to a good song, like I'll take a really like well-structured or catchy song that doesn't have like the best production or mix over a like hyper-produced, boring-ass generic song. So it's not necessarily the production, I think that's the issue. I think it's like a boring as fuck generic song that is also so produced that it loses all like human feel to it, and then it's just like, it's just a boring song but also hyper produced, and it doesn't even sound like it's written by humans anymore. That I think, because I'm a sucker for production, because again, anytime I go back on stream to, like, if I'm on stream and I'm listening to some of the older stuff like 20 years ago, whatever, like, yeah, unless the song is exceptional, a lot of the time I just can't get into it, because whether the mix or just like the production is so bland because of that period of time that it was released in. So yeah, I'm definitely for things sounding really polished and produced, but again, the song will always be the priority. And is the song interesting, you know?
If I can put words in your mouth here, a band that you've previously mentioned that is kind of within that spectrum for yourself might be like a Memphis May Fire, where the songs aren't really hitting for you, but it's really high production. It's like, well, it doesn't.
I think I had far more choice words for Memphis May Fire. You put very nice words in my mouth there. I don't know if it was them. I just think I was cringing at their lyrics. That was my main thing with them.
Oh, okay.
I don't think, yeah, but there's probably a similar band at some points. But yeah, Challenger, eh? What an album!
Yeah. Memphis
that is
May
the
Fire,
cringy
man.
album. That's the cringy album, right? That we spoke
Memphis
about
May Fire is a band that I cannot get behind. I never could, never can. I've tried some records, like, okay, I get it, but still, it's not for me.
They've got a couple great songs. Their song "The Sinner" that was a long time ago, but that is a banger. Also, "Blood and Water" from a few years ago is a fucking hater. Such a good song. There's a couple in there.
Yeah, they're like junk food to me. Like, but like junk food that you don't want to get, but it's just like the closest restaurant nearby.
You don't want.
Someone else give a trend. I feel like I've been in the hot seat for too long.
Put a trend here?
Yeah.
So
small women at concerts.
I'm out. I hate this trend. No, the trend that I've recently, and this is a great example, I think, if I do say so myself from my own point. Oh, great example, Drew. Have you guys heard the recent Atlas album, Sunder?
Yep.
You have?
I've heard 2 songs off it, I think.
Okay, right. So the history of this album with me was that they released Anodyne, which was my favorite song of the month that they released it. I think it was back in like mid 2025 or something. It was the lead single. And I was like, holy shit, people need to listen to this band, because they're doing like the Thal thing, but they have like a Finnish, they're from Finland. So they have this like mythical and like, they have like a folk aspect to their music. They have like acoustic guitars, and they have Buster Rodholm mixing it and mastering it and everything, and he does all the production. So it's got like your alt feel, but it doesn't just sound like a carbon copy of alt, because they also have this like folk nature to them as well, which just gives them an intrinsically completely different sound. So I was so high on this band, and then every single since then, I just didn't love it. Like, and there was like 6 singles. And to not veer too far off the topic here, they released 6 singles of 8 songs on a 28-minute long album, and one of the songs they released 5 singles of an 8-song album, and the intro song is 1 minute long, so discount that, it's not really a song. So there was 2 new songs left on an album, which, like, when the album actually dropped, I had no interest in checking it out. At that point, they'd like completely drained all of my interest over time. It started on like the biggest high, and it just went like this. Now, in saying that, I listened to the album, even though there's only 2 additional songs, because I do have a lot of faith in that band. I was like, I love this band, I love their sound. And the album's so good. It's like, sonically, to me anyway, it just flows really well. But the singles by themselves just took all of the wind out of the sails for that album, which I would imagine, and I've seen it in my own like Discord and people talking about it as well, where they felt the same, where it's like they kind of got beaten down by the singles, where they started so strong. Some of the singles in there were really good as well, but it was just like not really hitting, and it didn't feel like a single. because that album, when you hear it in the full context from start to finish, it does really feel like it was designed as like one big song. The mood of it is all like very vibey and it flows very nicely, and it made so much more sense when I heard it together. And it was like, this is such a good example of one of those albums and the theme that I'm kind of sick of, where you sit down on an album day. And I love albums. I know not everyone like loves sitting down for an album and listening from start to finish, but I love that storyline. That storyline just gets destroyed when you've heard all the singles. The counter to that is, I know I can just not listen to the singles, but I do also want to keep up with the singles. So I want to have my cake and eat it. But yeah, I don't know. I think the like waterfall method of singles kind of sucks, but I get it's like a commercial thing that like bands kind of have to do to keep up with, you know, the demand of fans and shit. But it really, in this one, was a really good example for me recently, where I was like, oh my god, this album actually nearly got skipped because I just wasn't arsed with it, because they just like released it in all these different orders, which didn't make any sense. And then when the album dropped, I'm like, now it makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's tougher as well, I think, for new bands, because if you just drop an album as a new band, it's hard to sustain, you know, PR across several weeks or months and gradually get people on board. You're gonna have a bit of a spike moment, and then you're just gone for months until you come up with some new. So I get that, but it's unfortunate if that is not actually the right way to enjoy a particular band's kind of music. Like if Loathe had to review, you know, put out singles like half an album before a full album, I think that would be odd, because they're very much an album kind of sort of band. And yeah, I'm looking at my own ratings for Atlas songs. Every single one was solid for me. Nothing went for like, oh shit. Yeah. And maybe what it needs to be is an album listening experience. I don't really know how to solve that, because I've historically said I would love, actually, for an album to be released one song at a time, the way Sundowning was by Sleep Token. I fucking loved that. But actually, maybe it has to be done in order so that you build the album story, and the songs have to be pretty fucking good. Like if you're just releasing, oh, here's the fourth song, and it's like, wow, it's whatever, you know. But no band thinks their songs are not great, and like, well, we'll release this one. It's not as good as the other one, but we'll like that's on. It's hard to predict actually what the response is going to be like for particular songs on their own. But I wish every band just released one song per week and building up an album over the course of like 10, 12 weeks. And then we can have enough time and space for each song on its own, but also enjoy the journey being built.
I was just going to say, like you mentioned, like if it's a new band, that's the thing. Like if it's a new band doing it, like Sleep Token did it for Sundown. They were a new band dropping, and then they fucking got a lot of success from that. But like, yeah, I the Atlas record, dude, like I checked it out, and the same thing. Like I've already heard like majority of these songs, and this was a point that I have. Like, stop releasing all the singles, and especially don't stop dropping the last song on the album as a single too, because it spoils. It's like knowing the end of the movie before you even watch it. But this was a point in my video, that in my original YouTube video, and so many people were agreeing in the comments that people are really fed up with this. But the thing is, yeah, it does work for new bands, and we can look at Villanova. Villanova released like 80% of their record. Like all the singles were dropping, and they were getting some hype. So by the time that Hit It dropped, it worked for them, because here's a different band that only dropped 3 songs, but Above Below, they only dropped 3 songs, and like I'm worried that maybe they didn't hype it up enough, that now it's just 3 songs. Yeah. So if you're an established band and you're doing this, then that's like really lame. But if you're a new band, I get it. It kind of sucks, but it is a way to really get your music out there constantly, because we listen to so much music, and because of the algorithms and like constantly Spotify showing you new songs all the time, that, oh, you might have forgotten about Atlas, that they dropped a song 2 months ago. They constantly have to keep like making sure that you remember the band exists and this album exists and it's coming. So yeah, it's unfortunate way things are right now.
Yeah.
But then, go on.
The thing for me is, like, obviously these singles are being released to hype the album. But the problem is that when you release the majority of the singles, it means that the album day is actually not exciting. So there's less reason for people to listen to the album, when that was the whole point in the first place, is to get them to go and buy the album or stream the album. I know they're collecting streams along the weeks by releasing these singles, so they're going towards the overall album. But I guess like for the hype on release day, it's just like it feels non-existent, because it's like there's no hype around an album being released when there's only 2 additional songs. It's like it just loses all that. At least I think that's probably a bigger talking point, is that. And again, look, I'm not like Atlas have like a lot of crossover between Humanity's Last Breath and Ravada. They're busy people. So I guess they're just probably caught up on other things. And again, I think the album's really, really good. And I was really surprised by it. But I think they were gone for like maybe 5 years. So to come back with a 28-minute long album, and it just doesn't feel as big of a deal on release day as maybe it could have, because a lot of people were like, in the underground space, we're really looking forward to that album, myself included, because their last album's incredible, Yuko. And for such a long layoff, it feels kind of like a glorified EP in terms of like the length, like and just how much they released. The release day just feels a little bit underwhelming, which is disappointing. But I suppose if you haven't listened to that album and you're unaware of Atlas and you like Humanity's Last Breath, like Thal bands in general, definitely if you like alt, you're gonna fucking love this band. I think you'll really find the gem here if you like alt. The album's incredible. Like, I'd be very envious of someone who hasn't heard any of the singles. It'll be a great album to listen to. It's just because I kept up with all the singles and I just personally didn't enjoy them as much. It just slowly like petered off for me. And then I was like, I guess I'll check out the full album, even though like Birb, I'd heard like 6 songs. I was like, I'll listen through these songs again and then get to the last 2. And I was like, you know what? That flowed really well. It makes a lot of sense. So, yeah.
So interesting that you said, you know, if you're a fan of alt, really love this, because this was actually the band I was trying not to name them earlier on. That like I was like, we already have alt. That's part of why they've never gone above a solid for me.
Yeah,
is because we already have alt, and I haven't yet found. I'm sure you've hinted at there's some kind of like folkiness or something from Finland. I haven't yet heard what is the differentiator that makes what they do stand out and worth like peeking into. Because I'm like, I've got alt, I'm good.
It's funny that you say that. Well, yeah, I was going to say Ukko. The album before that was way more folky, had a lot of more acoustic guitars that drew. Like, I do like the new album, but I found the new album, like, this just sounds like standard Thal to me. Like, what happened to the folk stuff from their last record that made them differentiate them?
Yeah, I think
a little hot take.
Yeah, another thing is like they probably sound a little bit like Grayscale Season, and the one thing that's tying all these together is that like they're all produced and mixed by Buster, and that is maybe another take that maybe you had in your video, Burb. I can't remember exactly, but like producers possibly like.
I didn't have that, but that's a good.
Okay,
good
well,
it's
at
a
this
take
point,
that is getting around.
I think we could probably not even just say producers. It's like find someone who isn't Buster at home to mix your albums. He's so good that he's cursed himself. That people are sick of his sound, because everyone wants to work with him because he's incredible, but it's a fatiguing sound, especially his drum mix. It's like overwhelmingly large in your ears, so it's easy to just get beat down by his mix. Which with the Atlas album, I'll stop talking about it now. Sure. But it does have a lot of slow moments in it. It's not all like balls to the wall like I think Alt were doing. A lot of it, there is like a lot of chilled out moments, and it does get slow, and there's like a ballad song to finish it out, which I appreciated. But I did have that point as well in it that I was like, okay, bands can't start to sound the same with Buster, because his mix is so obvious that it's him all the time. So they do blend together for sure.
I respect
bands that are using Buster and Ravada visuals. It's like
it's just like it's like a 2-for-1 deal.
I was going to say I respect it when a band works with a producer that's not part of the metal scene and does something wildly different. Or like, so like I always bring up this band, but fucking Thrice did that with Visu. They worked with a pop producer, and that's why it sounds so different than everything else. But like, yeah, the producers that we have in the scene are Buster, Will Putney, Jordan Fish. Right, it's always the same producers. You're getting the same sounds, and you're working with the same music video producers. So you're going to like do certain things. It's more of a risk to work with a different producer and try a different music video director. But actually, let me just throw in one more thing. The Plot and You. This is not talking about producers, but music videos. They worked with somebody who had like this really cool like art style. So they hired him on to do the music videos, and now Plot and You's music videos are so fucking weird and stylistic. They stand out. It's because they did something bold by taking a risk by working with this guy instead of anybody else. And
I want to mention, kind of bridging both those things, there is a new metal artist that I am just on tenterhooks waiting for the next song. Like it's like little Easter eggs. Like, oh, what are they gonna do next? I think they're gonna be fucking huge. They're called Showing Teeth, and they've had 2 songs out. And both of them have been so utterly captivating for me. So I'm like, I want the songs one by one. I want to like devour them as individual morsels. And I believe they worked with a pop producer. That's the initial partnership that they had was they started working on their music. So I think maybe that's helped as well create something a little bit different. I think they're a little bit different. They're taking the things we know and love from the world of like deathcore, metalcore, and doing something pretty fucking sick with it, with some great other musicians and songwriters. And I just think it's fucking dope. So maybe there's a combination of slightly different angle on things production wise, but also I think they're doing well with the individual song releases.
Yeah, I'm yet to hear the songs yet. But I think you were saying that's the artist that was like really big on TikTok, right? And then they kind of
I believe she did a lot of like, vocal covers
over.
and things on online, and then now this is the original music project.
I'm not going to say anything because I've had too many hot takes on this episode. I swear I like music, guys. I love music.
You're not into the showing teeth,
you've said more about saying nothing than you could have ever said.
I
I have another thing. This is the one I was like a little bit, because I've been listening to an album recently, and I'm not going to say the album because I don't have like concrete evidence. This is like one of these Reddit threads, but a trend I would like to see stop happening, because this album is so fucking good, is for vocalists to stop noncing children. Why is it always when there is a incredible album? Probably could have included this in the hot takes videos. Noncing Kids Burb is a UK song for being a so I probably should have prefaced that. I was
so not ready for this take. Wow, we've really taken a turn.
This trend, dude.
I'm so sick of this fucking trend. It seemingly just keeps popping up in metal. It is a trend. Have you seen about the fucking bands that have just had vocalists? It's like, for fuck's
no, I
sake,
haven't. Fucking
album. What? Where have you been living? Burn,
there's Lost Prophets.
There's been a few. Steve. I'm not going to start naming bands.
Oh yeah.
This is
Warped Tour was notorious for creepy shit. Yeah, but
I just derailed this episode, didn't I?
Listen.
Sorry.
That's not even.
And so do we have to like censor this episode so we can monetize it?
We were doing so well, and then he comes in. Listen,
that was
can we
not take in my head.
Can we not scope this to just modern metal and just say globally?
I
would like that to stop.
Yeah, I probably should have prefaced that. Like, in general, this would be great if that would stop, but
keep that shit in country.
Albums for me, that would also be fucking great. Just like, that'd be fantastic.
The thing is, like, that is probably like the thing that everyone could get behind, though. So that is a good take.
The coldest take
a wild thing.
I wasn't trying to make a hot take there, but it was more just the hotness of bringing this up out of nowhere. I was like, yeah, this is probably a bit of a weird one, but I'm going to say it. But no, the reason I did, because it's been fresh in my mind recently. What hole am I digging myself here? I've been so flat out on an album, right? And I've been listening to it, and I was talking about it on my stream, and I was like, oh my God, this fucking burb, you know it as well.
No.
And it's like a really underground, progressive, like, deathcore / death metal album, and it has Western vibes to it. I'm trying to just not say it because this is all like Reddit hearsay, but basically someone on my Twitch was like, oh, did you hear about the vocalist being a nonce? And I'm like, oh, because it's like a masterpiece album, like one of the best albums I've ever heard.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
That person's
it's kind of got
weirdo.
like an orangey yellow cover, like it's
it's such an incredible album, created a masterpiece.
I've been back on it, and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about this album. I'm trying again.
Can someone Discord message me this?
Yeah, I can, Steve.
Yeah,
but again, it's just because like it seems pretty, like I think there's like been news articles written about the vocalist, so it's like pretty locked in. But I also just don't want to start like saying it and shit. But I'm like, I guess that's a whole different conversation of like separating the artist from the art. But like the art objectively is fucking insane. But yeah, sorry about that. Derailing the episode there.
Well, I've never heard it.
So if
I got it.
Modern metal bands could stop doing that trend, that'd be great. Like calling it a trend is why it's fucking.
Yeah, I definitely should have prefaced that it's not just something that I'd like to see rid from modern metal.
I'm so sick of that cliche, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man, my band's successful. I guess I better start.
The reason I bring it up is that it genuinely feels that way. It's like once they hit a certain threshold, they're like, you know what, kids.
No. Let's move on.
Yeah,
please.
Sorry about that one.
Should I add just like one more so we can just like?
Yeah, please. We need a palette cleanser.
Also, yeah, Drew, good point. I'm also tired of basic pop song structure.
So
for the first like 5 minutes didn't know what noncing was, and he was just like, Steve's dying, and he just Birb's like, what did you say? I forgot that's quite a UK.
I've never heard that before, but
yeah.
I kind of got the idea because you said children. So, but anyway. Holy, basic pop song structure is also a little bit boring in modern metal. I'm tired of the verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. And it's also becoming like the verse, chorus, second verse does something, maybe has a breakdown. Yeah.
Do you know what's kind of interesting? I mean, I feel like it's what we kind of already talked about, the structures of things, so I would agree with that. What's kind of interesting as a trend in metal is that the Saint Anger snare has made a huge comeback. So, Drew, you might not know this.
Yeah, is that like a hollow snare sound, like conky kind of sound?
The Metallica album, Saint Anger, had a snare sound on it, which was diabolically awful.
Yeah.
But in the right context, that kind of sounds pretty fucking cool. Like, there's some hardcore bands, you just have a conging mad snare. It really, really works. And so that sort of sound has had a bit of a comeback, and now everyone's using it, and now it's boring again. It was wild, true. And now it was not cool. Then a bunch of bands are now using it, so now it's becoming a little bit like.
That's a good point. Like Knock Loose, right? They kind of have that sound a little bit at times with their breakdowns.
Yeah, a little bit. I think even Straight from the Path have put. Was it them or someone else? They put this Saint Anger snare sound underneath their main snare sound, so they actually have like both of them to body it up. It's either him or it might have even been Arik and Proda, possibly from Night Versus.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. Is that like when they tune the snare drum really tight so that it's like there's no like real?
Sounds like you're smacking an empty beer keg with a baseball bat.
Right.
It's
yeah.
just like,
is that like a Slipknot kind of sound as well? Is Slipknot?
Yeah, but
like
it's got a bit. Yes, because they have that in Duality, but it's more of it's the ringing sound of it's a snare being tuned up into that kind of stratosphere.
Interesting. Yeah, like I've always heard about that, but I've never heard the album, so I'd like to do that at some point just to hear what all the memes are about.
The drumming related as well. I think a trend that I think needs to stop. But the problem is it's hard because it's an expensive thing to stop. Is having everyone use drum samples and programming drums and snapping them to grid. It is so robotic. I would love to have more real drum kits recorded. And then you know, even if you do that and then you do some production on it, you can do some quantizing or whatever. But like there's a feel to that you have to be really patient or really gifted to program in. This is something the Oralize drummer, I think, is one of the best I've heard at this, because their drums are programmed. But they are so high IQ drum compositions that they feel very natural the way they've done that. But most people are just kind of copying and pasting in drum sounds, and it sounds hollow. And it's just like, ugh. It's ruining what could otherwise be really great songs for me.
Yeah. Tesseract are another great band at doing that. Their last album was the first album they recorded real drums on, which is crazy.
Showing teeth, real fucking drums. Great shit.
Yeah.
I want to hear Birb's take.
You do really hear the difference though, don't you?
That's my favorite part of the Showing Teeth is Matt Halpern.
Yeah. He's
Nice.
God. He's a god on the drums.
I'll throw in another one. The Thal plague of just bands doing like incoherent meow, 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 like all over the place pisses me off
done
now.
to death.
I'm just so annoyed by it. Like it's maybe not as prominent as much anymore. I think people have already gotten a little bit fatigued by it. Just like leave that to Viljarta. That's one that I'm sick of.
What about chugs? I'm also bored of chugs. Like I would like to hear more riffs.
I like a good chug.
like a
Again,
chug.
it's contextual. Because like Orbiculture have moments where they chug and it's like sick, but then they do it for 7 minutes straight and I'm like, all right, lads, let's not chug anymore. So they have great moments where it is just like and I'm like, yes, and then I'm like 7 minutes in like, okay, lads, let's wrap it up here. So in context, like breakdowns, done in the right moment, it's great. But with more riffs, please. Yes, absolutely.
I also to beat another drum I've been beating for a while, but like highly tuned vocals, like highly produced vocals, needs to stop.
President,
please. President, at least they've dialed it back, so that's good. But there's been some other new artists. I'm like, I think the songwriting here is good, but like the vocals are they sound a bit inhuman. So like I'm not relating to your your lyrics about this relationship situation you're struggling with, because it sounds like a fucking AI is talking about a relationship. It's like it's done nothing for me.
Interesting, because I do have that kind of same feel with the Jesse vocals on the new ERRA album, but you love the Black Clouds.
But then I'm not really, for them, I don't see those vocals as lyrically important. I couldn't tell you a single lyric other than "Where Are You Now," because it's the chorus of Black Cloud. But otherwise, the lyrics for me on that, it's more the instrumental impact of their music is what I connect with. So I'm fine with those vocals being a little bit more synthy somehow.
Fair. Yeah.
Speaking of AI is a trend that's annoying.
Yeah. In the context of our world, I
have a hot take about AI trend being annoying.
Let's hear it.
I think... Why am I doing this?
Go.
This idea that if anything has in any way touched AI, it should be like banned, and the band should be cancelled, or artists, like the people that are having to apologize online for using some AI tooling to make bits and pieces here and there. It's like, could we all just fucking calm down? Like, AI is a technology tool. Now, yes, there are implications in terms of copyright and piggybacking on other people's works and development. I totally get that. But people who have gone to this has become like a sort of political stance now. People just go like, if there's any AI involved, then I want nothing to do with it. It's like, imagine doing that. Like, well, listen, if you used an amplifier, then it's not real guitar. You've changed the sound, and I want not like that. Fine, fill your boots. But the idea that like everyone should be towing the same line on like AI should be just completely cancelled out of being a tool that anyone should use anywhere in the music industry, I think is silly.
I like that point.
I actually totally agree, because like there's a recent example. This literally happened on the weekend, but I made a video for this band called Alpha 6, and I made I don't know, like 4 videos for them, and they use AI, and their videos are actually really cool. They're really well done, but it's way more than just AI prompts. Like they're doing 3D modeling textures and then using like AI, I guess, to help transition. They're actually including behind the scenes footage on their YouTube channel, because people are like claiming that it's just pure AI. It's like, there's way more than just prompts on this. But I told them, like, I can't feature this because there's going to be way too much backlash. I'm like, what if I just like show this footage instead? Because like there's way too much backlash with AI videos. And they're like, okay, we get it. And because like I'm a little iffy when it comes to AI videos, but when it's AI music, like I literally heard an AI song on my last live stream, which was like, it's just an AI prompt. That to me is fucking weird, because then they're also taking away attention and revenue from the bands that it's influenced by, right? We did the whole AI video, right? And like that to me is, to me, that's scummy. And that kind of goes along with your point, Steve. But like, as soon as like anything AI, oh wait, that like that little graphic used there was like AI prompt or something, and then they'll like cancel you for it. Like that. The hysteria behind it is also wildly intense, which there's nuance and you can context behind a lot of these things. Yeah,
my main issue with the AI videos is, I understand, like, one of my very close friends is a cinematographer by trade, so like his entire income is based on the fact that he makes very high quality produced videos for businesses for a living, and he's like feeling the squeeze of like, oh, these businesses are going to start pulling out because they obviously want to save as much money as possible, and to go to like professionals who are in the cinematography or videography world to get these videos done is not a cheap endeavor. No. So they want to save money from a business standpoint. So I guess I understand that, you know, I understand it from a very close friend being in that position where he's feeling the squeeze of like, fuck, eventually this is going to get so good that like we're going to be completely obsolete. But at the same time, it's kind of like he's my very close friend, but like he'll be smart enough to figure something out, and they'll always be like the best people at what they do will find a way to work with it, and they'll be okay. But like there is just certain industries that, I'm not saying that like cinematography and videography and cinema is going to become obsolete, but like some industries just do get left in the past because of advancements in technology. And my main thing with AI is like the visual aspect for me is just that it's not there enough yet to look really good unless there is some like additional modeling done. The like prompts and shit that I see in music videos looks ass to me. Like it looks really cheap and tacky. So that is a trend that I would personally like to see stopping in like just, I guess, in general, but specifically in the modern metal space and just metal in general. I understand that a lot of bands that are on the come up want to save money and they don't have crazy budgets to like do visualizers and music videos, which is fine. But I think there's just creative alternatives to do using the prompted AI videos, because they look cheap. They make you look cheap, in my opinion, because you can just see instantly it's AI, and there's just something that I associate AI with being cheap, and it just makes your whole product look like. Because when I see AI visuals, my brain triggers and says, AI visuals, they're not afraid to use AI. There could potentially be AI music involved here, and I kind of instantly just don't treat them as seriously. Like I seen a video yesterday for, it was a video on stream, but it was like a lyric video where it was just a still shot. It was a campfire, and there's a guy sitting beside the campfire, and it was like nicely lit. I think there was like visual aspects to it that were probably altered, but something that wasn't too far stretched or too far astray from what someone could do in their own time. And it was a lovely lyric video that was like really engaging without it being like high budget. It was like a fire lit, a nice wide pan shot, and that is just so much more visually appealing to me, and it made the listening experience so much more valuable, as opposed to just like, here's my really lovely song, but it's fucking horrible visuals and real like what's the word I'm looking for here? When something looks almost human, but your human brain can tell that it's not quite there.
Uncanny.
Uncanny, yes, thank you. There's an uncanny thing when I look at AI visuals, which gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
on the far other end of the spectrum of effort, Calva Louise, they do their own CGI. Like,
nice.
Jess learned how to do CGI. It took her like months and months and months of learning the skill, and she's made insanely involved, like futuristic music videos they've done on their like. And so I had a recent couple of posts on Instagram being like, well, now AI can just do all this. Fuck me, I guess. But like, they still look sick, and you can tell like this has got a different quality to it. I think we're now seeing so much of the AI stuff that you can pattern recognize a lot of it. Like you see thumbnails on YouTube, like that's been AI created, or like various things are going around parent WhatsApp groups of like invites to bake sales. I'm like, that's an AI. Like we can see all of these things, and so there's good. Taste making is going to be important still in that aspect.
But what if it keeps getting better though, and then people are using it? It's like, you know what, I'm going to use it a little bit because it is a tool, it's going to help, but it's setting a bad precedent, and this stuff is just going to get better and better, that then there will be more of a reliance on this stuff and less room for creativity, and I think that's the biggest worry for these people.
Yeah, I get. We have to be.
Sorry, Steve. I seen a comment on, I think it was our AI video or I think it was the hot take video we did. I tried to find it there, but I couldn't get it. But someone said something along the lines of, I think, like, their hot take was that I think these artists and bands are massively overestimating how much the general population actually gives a fuck, because they're obviously in their artistic world of like, we're the creator and this and that, but like 99.9% of people are not that way inclined because they're not creating their own art. And I kind of agree with that, although I'm not like campaigning against what he's saying or for what he's saying, but I do agree that like it's easy to be wrapped up in the world that we're in, where we're in like very like niche music worlds, and we're so involved in it, and we're like talking to the artists and we know them, and we listen to their music all the time, we follow them, we listen to what they have to say about AI, but like that's just like a small little speck in the grand scheme of what's happening in AI. And people are like, oh, we can just make songs now from technology, this is amazing. It's
inevitable.
People don't really give a fuck.
Because to your point, most people don't notice or care. Actually, a lot of people don't notice or care beyond the folks who are as keenly interested in art and creativity. And it's shown in the numbers. People are absolutely listening to AI music in huge numbers, less in the metal scene. But and so things are just going to go more and more that way.
Yeah. I'm so sick of AI backgrounds. I fucking love just having backgrounds on my TV. And like, it is so hard to find something that's just not AI slop.
I thought you were going to say that your fire was AI, and I was like, "You're like, I'm so sick of AI backgrounds.
I'm so sick of this AI video, dude, that I keep playing for years."
You ever see the amount of money that these people make from these background videos?
I thought about it, dude. Like, I thought about it. Yeah,
some dude made like over $1 million off one video, and it's just like some snowfall or something. I don't even know what it is.
But like, I think it's a fire market. That market's saturated, and now it's AI. It's oversaturated with AI shit. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the trends. I don't know. We're talking for a long time, but noise pedals are kind of annoying after some time in guitars. That's another trend. Yeah.
Do we have a final jolly take?
Yeah. Well, at least we didn't end on my last point.
I'm so sick of
that is jolly that we didn't do that.
Yeah, Drew, finish it off with another one.
No, don't give me the fucking reins here. This is going to turn into a hot takes episode.
Small women now.
Yeah. Don't let me finish. Wait a minute.
What a phrase.
Your eyebrows are nuts, dude.
Thanks, man.
Well, I hope you've learned something from our conversation today. Maybe it is just a European word that you didn't know before, Bird. But we had some learnings. It was interesting to chat about some of the modern metal trends that are going on. And I think the ultimate foundation of all this is that when people do something a little different from these, it stands out and it can be really interesting, and that can catch fire, and people can gain lots of interest from people in the industry or fans, etc. So this is nuggets of advice, perhaps, for anyone who's thinking about starting to make some music from our point of view, at the very least. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Look out again for our live stream that we'll be doing on the 26th of March. It'll be on Twitch, so follow one of us on Twitch, or join our Patreon. That way you can get access to our Discord. We'll let you know all the ins and outs of when we're doing that. And you can get a little sneak peek behind the scenes of what we're planning there as well. Also, if you want bonus episodes, they're now on Spotify. You can subscribe to this podcast on Spotify. You can also become a YouTube member and get bonus episodes as well. There's some really, really silly moments in those episodes. Obviously, I would do this, but I recommend you check them out.
There's got to be something else. Come on.
Yeah.
Do subscribe if you haven't already on YouTube. Also follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And make sure you rate this thing 5 stars as well if you do enjoy us on those. There it is. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you again next week.
Cheers.
Peace.